A young man in a gray t-shirt and hiking shorts walked along a familiar trail at the edge of town. He had walked this path hundreds of times. The trail wound through a peaceful forest filled with tall pines and soft moss. Wooden benches sat along the path, and trash bins were placed every few hundred meters for dog walkers and joggers. It was safe, predictable, comfortable. But today, for some reason, he felt like doing something different. Maybe it was boredom. Maybe it was curiosity. Or maybe it was just the strange feeling that today shouldn't be like every other day. He stopped for a moment, took a sip of water, and stepped off the main trail. The deeper forest was quieter. Leaves crunched under his boots. Small animals rustled through the undergrowth and disappeared when they heard him coming. Out here there were no people, no phones buzzing, no notifications, just trees and wind. He took a deep breath of the cool air and smiled. Then he noticed something strange in the distance. Something bright, something white. It was a large cube sitting deep in the woods. From far away, it looked almost glowing against the darker forest. The young man frowned. There were no roads here, no construction sites, no signs of anyone building anything. So how had a perfect white cube ended up here? Curiosity pulled him closer. The cube stood about the size of a small shed. Its surface was smooth and glossy like polished plastic. There were no screws, no seams, no visible joints. Just 6 perfectly flat sides, except for one thing. A metal door on the front. The young man circled the cube slowly. No windows, no vents, nothing else unusual loose the door. He glanced around the forest. No cameras, no people hiding behind trees. Finally, he grabbed the handle and slowly pulled the door open. Inside was nothing, just an empty white room. He laughed quietly to himself. After all that mystery, it was just an empty box. But then he noticed something odd. On the back wall of the room were 2 more metal doors. He frowned. That didn't make sense. He stepped back outside and walked around the cube again. There were no doors on the back walls, only smooth plastic. So where did the 2 interior doors go? Confused, he stepped back inside. Maybe it was some kind of trick. He walked up to the left door and slowly opened it. His stomach dropped. Behind the door was another room, an identical room. Same white walls, same 2 doors on the far side. He quickly stepped back. "That's not possible," he whispered. He rubbed his eyes and opened the door again. The second room was still there. He cautiously reached his hand through the doorway. His fingers touched empty air. The space was real. Slowly, curiosity overcame his fear. He stepped through. The door closed behind him with a quiet click. The new room was exactly the same as the first. 2 doors waited on the opposite wall. They opened at one, another identical room, and another, and another. Every room looked exactly the same. White walls, smooth floor, 2 doors. At first, it felt exciting. He laughed nervously as he walked through room after room. It felt like discovering some impossible secret of the universe. But after a while, something strange happened. He noticed a footprint on the floor. It wasn't his. It was larger, a different tread pattern. Someone else had been here. The realization made his stomach tighten. He wasn't alone. Suddenly the rooms felt smaller, colder. He turned around to go back, but then he froze. He couldn't remember which door he had entered from. He looked around the identical walls. Every room looked the same. Every door looked the same. Panic slowly crept into his chest. He chose a random door and stepped through. Another identical room. Then another. Then another. His phone flashlight began to dim. The battery was draining fast. Without it, the rooms would be completely dark. He started moving faster. Door after door. Room after room. His breathing became heavier. Then he noticed writing on a wall. A small red mark next to one of the doors. Relief flooded through him. Someone had been marking their path. He followed the red marks. But a few rooms later he found something else written on the wall. Large shaky letters scratched across the surface. "This is hell." The writing was dark brown, dried, blood. Below it were broken fingernails. The young man felt tears well in his eyes. Someone had been trapped here, someone desperate. He ran through another door, and another, and another. Finally, he stopped, exhausted. He leaned against the wall, trying to catch his breath. That's when he realized something. He could hear breathing. Not his. Someone else's. Slow. Weak. Wheezing. He slowly turned his phone light toward the corner of the room. A person stood there. Or at least, something that used to be a person. Their clothes were filthy. Their body was thin and skeletal. Their eyes were wild and sunken. Their fingertips were bloody stumps where the nails had been torn away. The stranger stared at him with desperate eyes. "I never thought someone would find me," they whispered. The young man swallowed nervously. "Are you trapped here too?" The stranger nodded slowly. Then their expression changed. Their eyes drifted toward the young man's throat. "I'm sorry," the stranger whispered. "I'm just so hungry." Before he could react, the figure lunged at him. The phone fell from his hand and shattered on the floor. The light went out. And in the endless maze of white rooms, no one could hear him scream.
If this horror story hooked you, subscribe so you don't miss the next one.